Welcome back to the Warlock Journal here on the Agamemnon Game Review. Today's recording, at least the audio recording, is being recorded on the 13th of May 2018. It's Sunday, 11:58 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The footage was actually captured on the 7th of May of last week. I believe that was Tuesday. Might have been Monday. So, since we can't shoot any streaming video of World of Warcraft off the laptop, we're going to have to resort to recording it and then processing it through Adobe Premiere and then uploading it to YouTube the old-fashioned way, the old-school way of doing it. Till such time that we can actually stream it, which is not practical in that sense to make a video every single day, so we're gonna have this be a weekly series until such time as we can stream it. I intend to have Star Trek Online, World of Warcraft, and Star Wars The Old Republic. I'm gonna shoot them as a weekly series. It gives me time to shoot the video, process it through Adobe Premiere, do the audio voiceover, and then process it for YouTube and then upload it for YouTube. At the same time, take advantage of the scheduling tool on YouTube. The first of that will be Star Trek Online. I have it scheduled to post on Monday at 6 a.m. Determining how long it takes this video to process, and there's a part 2 of this video, so which is almost another hour. So this probably won't be uploaded till Tuesday, based on my current schedule. I have to work around my work schedule, which is my priority, and since this is technically a glorified hobby at this stage, it always has to take a second place to that, my work schedule. So, here we go. Since our last post, I intended to do a video last week, but what ended up happening is I tried to do the voiceover while recording in Fraps, but what ends up happening is that it records all Windows sounds, and so it ended up picking up stuff that I didn't want to be on the video. So I decided just to scrap that and go ahead and just wait another week and shoot it the way it needs to be done. And since the last time we did a video, I joined a guild called Rest in Peace. I don't believe they're an all Forsaken guild. At least of the people I met, not everyone is Forsaken. I was hoping to join an all Forsaken guild is what I wanted to do, but this will do. They're a horde guild, at least. And I like the name, so we'll give them a try, see how things turn out. Now, our first goal has been getting this character to 85, which we did accomplish. And we did get to unlock some raids, but we weren't able to do any of the raids because we didn't have enough. Our item level was too low. So what I ended up doing is I went, because the time walking event was for Burning Crusades, which were in that area currently. We got locked out of the dungeons on those because we had reached 81, and we're locked out of those until they are unlocked. As we go up to 90 and the 100 and 110. We'll get those back, but luckily we were able to do some of the dungeons through the time walking event, and it gives me a better understanding of why they're time gated. And I guess as the game expanded beyond the classic Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, back then the game was more heavily reliant on questing. Raiding was kind of a new thing, and people did dungeons, those weren't new, but it feels like the game has balanced out more to where the main storylines are done in the dungeons and raids, and then which are time gated, and which you have to join a queue. And then all the quests, although they're sort of strategically placed within the world, they look like to me they don't have to be done at any particular order or any particular time. So adapting to that new type of play style, which is different than it was when the game first launched, it's taken me a while to get used to that sort of playing, and now since the time walking event was going, I wanted to take advantage of that and get as many of these dungeons and heroic versions of them out of the way. So, because what had happened is my quest pad had filled up, and all those quests are tied to dungeons, which I can't access because I'm locked out of them. Because my character had made 81, and I was hoping by reaching 85, some of those dungeons are unlocked in the Cataclysm heroics, and so I could still do some of them. And I did clear out my pad a little, and so between now and next Monday, I'm going to be severely pushing to get to 90 quickly. So after this week, I played a little more other than Monday, but I played every day for about an hour, and I felt that that's a little more. For me, I feel rather than play for 8-9 hours out of the day like I used to, I find doing it 1 hour out of the day, sometimes 2, Monday through Friday, is more productive for me, and I can get on to doing other things. I tried this week with the channel. We're trying to get everything standardized using Outlook. This is the second week that we were using Outlook for the channel, and I think everything worked out great. We've been very consistent with our afternoon streams, and we were doing World of Tank and Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then in the evening we were doing South Park and DC Universe Online. Now, what makes it hard to do the later night streams is that my work schedule has changed to where I'm having to get up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning to go to work. But I get off at like 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning, so I have all afternoon to do stuff. But because I have to go to work at 4 a.m., I'm generally really tired. And so I have to find a place to take a nap during the day. So I've moved most of my afternoon streams. I've moved them to the 5 p.m. hour. And so with Star Trek Online and World of Warcraft, I moved them to the 1 o'clock hour and 3 o'clock hour in the afternoons. They don't require me to really stream, other than Monday when I record. So I feel that's a much better, much healthier schedule. And I moved Star Wars: The Old Republic to a weekend. Was it Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek Bridge Crew, and Star Wars: The Old Republic, I moved to the weekend. And then my daily games are going to pretty much be World of Warcraft, Star Trek Online, World of Tanks, Battlefront 2, DC Universe, and South Park. Trying to find a way to fit Battletech in there, but I'm pretty much going to move Battletech to a weekend kind of a game, because I feel that's more of a Saturday, Sunday link, because I'm not always off on the weekends, and when I do get off, those are really good games that you can kind of sit back and relax. This is the first weekend we got to put stream Battlestar Galactica, which I felt really happy with. And first time we got to use the green screen. Last Friday, we are finally the rigging came. So we had the screen, but we're waiting on the rigging to come, and now that's all set up. I got a chance to play around with it. Did some chroma key tests on Friday and today, and I'm glad I bought the portable system, and after using it, gained some valuable experience. I know now that I need to get a white screen and a black screen, along with the green screen. I'm just gonna go ahead and order the lighting system this week, which is just like $50, $52 on Amazon. Which it comes with. They're using LEDs and not incandescent lamps, but get 4 sets of lights, 2 of the director beams, and then the light projection system with the umbrellas. And for $50, I think that's a pretty good deal. And it comes with a carrying case, so I can take it on the road. And I'm still saving up for the Xbox with the Sea of Thieves, but I'm not in a hurry to buy that. So it's a $300 investment, but I'm leaning more towards, now that I got the green screen set up, I'm leaning more towards getting the ProCam system, because I want to take that to Comic-Con, and which is in August, and it's only a $70 purchase for the ProCam GoProCam, and that would be a really, I think that would be a better purchase now and get it out of the way. Then I can practice and do some cool stuff with it. And then when the Xbox shows up, I'll have everything in place to take advantage of the 4K recording technology. And I kind of want to paint my room out, because although we moved into the office here in this late December, early January during the holidays, so I've had time to paint it. I need to paint the trim. I need to replace the blinds and replace the curtains to the blackout type curtains. And then I want to get that out of the way, because along with the better lighting, repainting the rooms, it'll be a fresher paint, and I'll have to paint it by hand, like with a hand brush, so like it looks nice and uniform. And then everything I'll slowly start taking on. I kind of want to do that over the summer, because those purchases are kind of low-level purchases and not what require me to make a huge expense. Why I'm saving for the Xbox, so that'd be kind of cool. So here we are, trying to clear out these missions, doing a couple of time walking events. This is the first time in World of Warcraft I actually had done a time walking event. As I had said before, when I was going around with my main Warlock, who's an Alliance character, I never really played the Horde all that much, and since I've come back to World of Warcraft, I'm really into the lore now. I really wanted to play more on the Horde side, because I feel that's, for me, where the more interesting story is at, and I really like the Forsaken. I mainly like Sylvanas' story, and I like that the Forsaken story revolves heavily around that character. So, and for myself, the Forsaken, for me, it's a fun character to play, because they're sort of like outcasts. Even though they're part of the Horde, they're not really, no one in the Horde trusts them. So I don't really understand why they don't trust them. If anything, they're the ones that have lost the most in the lore. And they're the ones that have been completely loyal to the Horde in the entire time. So I don't really understand why they've developed a bad reputation. Only because they're undead, I guess. But that's fun. So early on, I was going back and forth to get organized. Generally, when I come in on Monday to play World of Warcraft, I'm getting, I said, there's all our people. I still don't know who any of these people are. I've only met a couple of them, but I've been slowly going through the list to see where I am on the Warlock list now. Myself, I love playing Warlocks, and I take it very serious. But although I like demonology a lot, I like playing all 3 specs. And the way I'm trying to get my gear set up is, I don't know if I can or can't, but I want to have the character strong in all 3. Because I feel it's better if you're doing raids to be able to switch from one to the other. That way you're more versatile, rather than stuck in one thing, which is never a good thing. You need to be flexible and adaptable to different situations, and being able to understand the limitations of demonology, the limitations of affliction, and the limitations of destruction, I think are key to playing Warlock. And I think a professional Warlock, or one that's, if you want to be a really good Warlock, you need to know how to play all three in all situations. Although I feel demonology is my favorite. There's nothing I feel there's nothing that a demonologist can't do. Well, I'm not sure if that came out right, but I think they're the tankier of the three. You can sit back and really assess what's going on. You're sort of your own little private army, and it really requires a laid-back person that's somewhat organized to play. A lot of stuff going on with demonology. But I've grouped it down to pretty much spamming Hand of Gul'dan and spamming the Fellhounds. And demonology isn't really the multi-targeter that Affliction is. Although you could do it with Doom, it's not necessary to do that. All you really need to do is cast Doom on one guy so that all your people will attack them, and then when you spread out your forces around that target and hit Demon Wraths, they will attack anything within 10 feet of that circle. So it extends your arc out another 10 feet, which I think is cool. So if they're standing around you in a 40-foot interval, that extends your attack out to like 50 feet, right? And that's quite useful. Myself, when I solo, I like using Fear a lot as my crowd control ability, because it's my only crowd control ability. But when I'm on a team, I don't tend to use Fear a lot, so I'm not sure at this stage if that's a good or bad thing. I'm still trying to assess that. I feel that you should always be crowd controlling no matter what. So here I am, I'm going around in the Nether area here. And I was trying to finish out this consortium quest line, but I ran out of contacts, so here comes the, I popped. Waiting on these dungeons to pop, and I couldn't find any more people to talk to. So what I ended up doing at the end of the week is I went back to Kalimdor to do the Cataclysm storyline stuff. Quest line. Get those all out of the way. I've slowly learned up to this point, at least today, that you can do the quest in any at your own leisure. You should focus on doing the dungeons, getting your equipment up par, and then once you can do raids, that will extend your ability to see what's going on in the larger story. And then for me, I think it's just a continual building process, and then getting gear up. Now, I haven't actually seen any of the artifact stuff and Legion stuff, so this kind of stuff is all new to me, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it.
Order your warlocks to double their efforts. Moments from now, the gateway will open, and your horde will be released.
This is weird because this is the second time I've done a story where I've been an actual human. I've been dead most of the time. It's the second story I've come along with where I'm alive as a character. It's kind of interesting. So here I am doing the demonology thing. You see I'm spamming Hand of Gul'dan, and I'm waiting for my Deathstalker thing to light up. and then I hit him. But you see, what I do is, if you see all my ads there, I'm spamming Hand of Koldan to spread my imps out, and then I'm using Demon Wrath to create a perimeter of area effect. If you think about it, the character's really a tank at that stage, and when you've played a lot of tanks, tank's primary ability, other than absorbing damage, is to crowd control closer to the party. You think of the close-in support versus range. They generally have a lot of AoE, and why that is the tank uses its AoE ability to control aggro. Because usually, in most games, AoE attacks draw the most aggro of everybody around you, and when you throw out your Hand of Koldan, not only you're doing a lot of range attacks, but when you Demon Wrath, you're spamming your AoE attacks and drawing all that aggro away from the party. Hence, crowd controlling. And what you're crowd controlling is you're drawing firepower away from the party. And you're preventing the other group from massing firepower. It's generally the way it's supposed to be. And I consider the Fellhound stalkers the cavalry. Heavy infantry. So when it lights up, then I hit them. See right there? And I do the empower, demon empowerment. You see up there? As long as that thing's cooling down, all those guys are affected. And I only use my big demons towards the end of the fight. Once you get the enemy down to about 30%, then I cast my big demons. Now, if it's a single target guy, I use my Doom Slayer demon. And if it's like a bunch of dudes, then I use the Infernal guy, because he's more for spreading damage than a single target. Now, since we're doing these little bosses, I pretty much spam Hand of Gul'dan. It's generally what my attack is based around. But when we get to the bigger boss, I switch back to Shadow Bolt. And I just take the base imps as they are. If I have time, I'll empower them. But for the most part, I'm just going to spam Shadow Bolt and Hand of Gul'dan just to build up my shards. And then when the Death Stalkers show up, Fellhounds light up, then I engage them. That way I can get the maximum amount of people on the ground. And it doesn't matter if I get 1 guy, 2 guys, up to 4 guys. I just keep spamming Hand of Gul'dan. And it seems to work. Now, the problem with the DPS meter is, for people that don't really understand how statistics work, that's a measure of central tendency. And it's not actually recording the spread of damage. Now, I can see the spread based on my own personal attacks there on the right. See all my, it's broken down, it's itemized all my attacks. Based on the total damage I've done. So, I think as a demonologist, my primary responsibility is to control for ads. I feel that's my primary responsibility as a DPS. Go ahead and make this map image a little larger. I can read it. It's hard to read the image on Adobe Premiere. do the best I can. Now, I use the SCADA add-on. I like that one. Simple, easy. I moved up to 4th place in damage. And this is the first time in this character's history that it's gotten to a 400 item level. So I kind of see that pawn is limited up to this point in the game. It does a really good job of telling you what gear is best for the demon, the warlock, in whatever spec you are. But what ends up happening is it favors like a item level of 57 over an item level of 400, and I think that's cool. But I think the item level is probably a far better stat than the individual one. Because when you get measured for these raids, you're gonna be so low on the item level that it's not gonna matter if your individual stats are high. No one's gonna pick you. So I kind of been overruling a pawn in my decision. That way to get my gear up. And plus all the gear I have right now is trash anyway, so it's not like the most amazing gear ever. So imagine between where I'm at and where I'm going to end up at 110, I'm going to go through a lot of gear. So, but I feel we're not doing the most damage, but I feel our damage is effective. And this is my first chance with this character to play with seasoned veterans. No one really complained, so I guess that was a good thing. Lost again, but making it happen. But every spec I've played of Warlock doesn't generally, in the initial stages of the battle, inflict a lot of damage. I don't feel that Warlock is a big alpha damage character. I think Warlock is better at what I call mid-range. If you think of a curve, you have like the left side of the curve, the right side of the graph. It's basically like a square wave, and Warlock does consistent damage over the entire length of the battle, which is I call mid-range damage, your working damage, whereas the big alpha strike type DPS, they can focus a big hit. And I think even if you're not doing big alpha damage, if you're providing that nice consistent mid-range damage, then when they go focus their attack, it's gonna be used more effectively. I don't know if that makes any sense, but they're not wasting their power on dumb stuff. Cannon fodder, that's what the Warlock is taking care of. You're taking care of all the cannon fodder and trashy stuff so that they can focus all their energy on what's in front of them, that's a single target. And I think that's where Warlock really earns its money, in my opinion. Now, I could be completely wrong in that, but I feel I'm on the right track. Warlock is your bread and butter DPS. Chicken and gravy type DPS. You're not like the dessert of the meal. Where you're chicken and gravy, mashed potato type DPS. Now the add-on I'm using is called the Forte Exorcist add-on. I find it to be really good for Warlock. It's one of the ones I've scoped out. It's really nice and organized. And not so much at the cooldown. I get to see as you're spreading out your damage, especially when I play Affliction, when I'm multi-targeting, I can track all the targets, and it's very useful. Now, at this stage of this character's career, I find that of all the three, well, I find Destruction, it does a lot of damage, but I find Destruction to be the weakest Warlock in terms of being shot at. I tend to die more in Destruction than I do in the other two specs. And it seems initially your attacks are really slow in Destruction.
So be it. It's not too late. You may still live.
But Destruction attacks seem really slow initially. That must be why they require a lot of haste. Guess once you get a lot of haste, that will improve. But it seems the slower attacker of the three specs. Here I am spamming Hand of Gul'dan. I got my little Doomguard guy out. It's the main boss, so I'm spamming Shadow Bolts early in the battle. If I see him pop some ads, I'll switch to Demon Wrath. But we're spamming Shadow Bolt and Hand of Gul'dan. What we're doing. I like to say, as a Warlock, the guy out of mana, that's a mage. The difference between a Warlock and a mage is the guy out of mana that's called a mage. The best thing of Warlock is you need mana, you just hit the button, boop, 1-2 hits, your mana's back up. And if you need to heal, you hit the little drain life, boop. You healed right back up. And got my little soul stone up. So in case I die. Just make sure if you die as a Warlock, you die. You don't die within a 5-minute interval. So your soul stone can recharge. And as a backup, you have those health stones. But you kind of want to spam Hand of Gul'dan, because the more pets you have out, the more it increases your ability to absorb damage. The more tankier you're going to be, right? Because you're so linked to your pets. So if you have like 8, 9, 20 pets out there, you're going to be able to absorb a lot of damage as a Warlock. Doom's up. When you think of it, Doom is really just a taunt. With at the end of 18 seconds, it delivers a massive blow. Which, if used right, it could do some damage. But its main purpose is a taunt. Now you see, we aren't doing any massive damage, but we're spreading damage out to all those guys there, which is, again, I think, more efficient. We're doing it. Now the guy up top there, he's can focus his what 192. I can't read the number there. A couple thousand points of damage, but he can focus his main damage on that one guy, and we can hit all those other dudes. The bread and butter attack is the melee attack from the Felguard. See, we unleashed the Infernal guy there. He did a lot of damage. Because he had a lot of targets to hit. Demon Wrath. That's a fun power. If you spam Hand of Gul'dan and Demon Wrath, you can hit a lot of people. Not to mention, the more pets you have, you'll generate shards a lot faster. Now, this is the first time I've been to this dungeon, so I really didn't know what was going on with it. I still don't know what's going on with it. As a Warlock, I tend to get in these dungeons, and everybody tends to run to them, that I never really understand what's going on in the actual dungeon, other than we're attacking stuff. I don't really understand how this fits into the larger story, which I guess I can figure out later. But for the most part, I never really know what we're doing here.
Let us no longer be slaves of the outsiders. Those who do not embrace this greater path shall become victims.
Now, when I'm getting stunned, I don't really panic on that. I feel that that's what we're supposed to be doing. It's better that they're trying to stun the Warlock than all the other guys, right? Yeah. Got that guy, yeah.
I am grateful for your aid, champions. Now, Gul'dan's horde will sweep across this world like a locust swarm. All my designs, all my carefully laid plans will at last fall into place.
Now, I don't know why this thing popped again, but I had to go back and turn all this stuff in, so... Who's hitting the button like 5 seconds after people killed stuff? It's kind of annoying. Personally, I feel it's kind of an asshole that you haven't even finished one mission and dude's already popping up for another mission. Haven't even sold, haven't even repaired or anything, and it's just annoying. Real sign of an asshole is they hit that button right away. I like to have a real basic look with my character. Minimalistic look. I don't like having that big exotic look. Jeans and t-shirt is pretty much what I transmog my character at. Right. I really needed this one cleared out of my menu. There were a couple of quests tied to this, so I really wanted to get this one done. I don't know how he died, but it happens. This is the one where the mage quits or whatever. Healer quits on us. Annoying. Who quits a dungeon 5 seconds into it? It's not like it's a high power, this is like a low one. You know? Like, Why even join a raiding group or a dungeon group if you're just gonna quit 5 seconds into the mission? Like, I hate this one. Well, what other one would you like? Yeah. I like those spam and hammers. Those are pretty funny. Protection, paladin. See, Demon Warlock is designed to stand back 40 feet from the battle. So you can see what's going on and to call up your troops, send in your reserves, special forces. And it'll go down. Look at that. Spamming the hell out of that. Go down. See, even with all those Legion strikes, the hand to go down just superseded that with one button click. And if you get your empowering demon up, that hand to go down with your demon wrath is gonna just do even more damage. Launch our little infernal guy out there. Look how much more damage Hanago Dan has done. Now I know my job here is to stay alive for the other guys to come back. I think we end up dying. But do you see me panicking? Nope. Nice and calm, cool. Keeping my people alive. Press on the attack, even though I know a couple people have been killed. This is exactly why I like demonology. I do realize, because my gear is low, that I'm gonna have to up my gear so I can get my damage up. So I'm gonna have to be doing a lot more damage than that, which I've been working on. See, I got my little teleport thing out. Look at that. Heads up. And you see these little protean things trying to attack me. I'm on them. See, I didn't panic. I knew my guy would come back and knock these guys out. But I kept my focus on the main attack. I've been in the last couple weeks using the teleport gates more and more. Even if I don't actually use them, I set it all up. Which I'm hoping it's going to be useful later on. Figured to give it to you. You might as well learn to use it in all kinds of different ways. Being able to teleport short distances in a battle, it has its, I think, advantages. Because Warlock isn't, at least as a Forsaken Warlock, you're not a very swift runner. You're always slower than everybody, and being able to teleport across stuff is useful. Right, we're coming up to the end of this part. Gonna be headed in part 2. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time to upload it, but I'm thinking I'm gonna be better off uploading this on Tuesday than try to do it on Monday. Best to have it all completed and make sense than rush it. Plus, it gives me a chance to fool around with the scheduling tool on YouTube. Now, some of these guys are like 110 dudes who've been reduced down to this thing. I'm a 86, I believe, when I did this. Barely at 400 item levels. I think all my gear was like 3 something. I had gear that was like still in the 50s. Alright, we're coming up to the end of this part. We'll be picking it up at the end of this dungeon in part 2. Hope to see you there. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We'll pick you up in the next few minutes. See you there.